You got it. Hey, I'm Biggy. I got third place on Destination X, and you are watching Hollywood Junket.
Iconic. Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start off. Biggie, one island.
One island,
One
Mia. All the Romans had to do back in the day was just dig a couple more canals, parcel off two more little pieces of land, and I would have had a chance at 250. But that's life,
man.
baby. Came up a little short. It is what it is. It sucks for sure. Do I still think about it almost every day? Yes. Am I still a little mad about it? Of course. But that's life. Shit happens. That's what I like to say. Anytime anything bad happens, shit happens. It is what it is.
I love that. That's going to be my new mantra. But honestly, that was all up to chance. You played a heck of a game and were intimidating to a lot of the players on there. So I'll get started with the first question. So we had another kind of tie, which is the one island in this final episode. But did you never really kind of pick up on that Peter and Rick were in an alliance?
No, I just had my blinders on to Rick because me and him after episode one got very close. I was, and you don't really see any of it on the show, but me and Rick, I was outside of Mac and Allie. That's probably, or excuse me, Mac and Shane. That's probably who I was closest with. And I mean Kim, obviously, but Kim was kind of playing a solo game. And so after kind of Josh went in on Rick episode one, and everybody kind of shut him off. I felt bad for him. I got pretty close with him after that. So that's why I kind of have my blinders up. And Shane tried to tell me, he was like, you cannot trust Rick. You can't. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, man, he's a good guy. And tell he's a good guy. And yeah, he was the only person I had my blinders on to. And unfortunately, that's what led to me. That's what led to me getting third place.
And so speaking back to that final challenge, after Rick moved you back, why didn't you start moving Rick back? I think I understand why, but if you want to go ahead and explain that.
Yeah, so I knew Rick's knowledge was good, and I knew the probability of him getting majority of the questions right was pretty high. So I completely switched strategies, and I knew the only chance I had to make it out of there was to force a sudden death with Peter. I mean, I knew that was my only chance. So if had I gone Peter back once and then Rick back, I don't think statistically I would have been able to get Peter all the way to the back with me, which is obviously what ended up happening. But I knew that was my best chance just because I assumed Rick knew more about the questions than Peter did.
Mhm.
So I assumed that was my best chance was to force a sudden death. You know,
Biggie, you called it at the beginning of the episode when you said maybe, one of these landmarks will be Destination X, like
yeah.
actual Destination X. Had you stayed in the game, do you think you would have gotten that final clue correct? Do you think you would
It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say, because after you see it, after you hear about it, all the clues obviously make sense. They
have?
make sense after you hear about it. The $100 bill, Ben. The hourglass time. It's like after the fact, of course, yeah, I would have nailed it. It in the moment, that high pressure, your brain's going a million miles an hour, and it's so hard to really nail down exactly like you know what your brain would be thinking in that moment if you don't already know the answer. So honestly, who knows? Who knows? I think I would have given it a good shot. I know I would have given it a good shot because I'm a damn competitor. But honestly, who knows? I would have loved to have had the opportunity, but who knows?
So Rick actually said that you were a major threat. How do you feel about that? That's got to be, a confidence booster, but how do you feel about him saying that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good, and I think it shows because that's the reason he got me out. I think with me being a threat, I think there's a reason why, for 5 episodes, from four on, I was safe from elimination. And I think it was because the social game I played, because I made, such good relationships with so many people on the bus. That and not that my European knowledge was like great by any means, but it was from the amount I studied, I think it was pretty decent, and that put me in a good position, to be able to move far in the game. That, in addition to my social game, I think did make me a threat. And, it was, yeah, I mean, it feels good to hear that, it sucks I didn't win. It is what it is. That's probably why he got me out. But, yeah, it feels good to hear that.
Yeah, and then speaking of Rick again, before the finale challenge, in the Monaco challenge, it was clear, kind of, that we could see as an audience that Peter and Rick were in an
Yeah.
alliance. What made you kind of think or believe that Rick would choose you over Peter in the finale, or did you think that at all?
Yeah, well, just because of the relationship and the conversation that
Yeah,
we had for the previous 5 weeks, for 2 weeks before Peter even got on the bus, the conversations that we had, like how close we were. I just didn't think there was any way he would flip from me uh, to Peter, and so it was just I just let my emotions get the best of me. I mean, you know, this being my first reality show, I didn't know, how much you really can't trust people, especially in a competition where there's only one winner. Everyone's going to be out for themselves, and I just let my emotions get the best of me. So I was shocked for sure, but the signs were there the whole time. I just chose not to listen. So it is what it is.
man.
Yeah.
God. Um, kind of turning spaces right now. You said that you had never been out of the US prior to the show. What made you want to come on Destination X? How were you cast? Kind of walk us through that.
I'm an adventure guy. If there's an opportunity for me to do something, I'm going to do it. You only got one life, you might as well live it. That's like my motto. So as soon as they asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely. Then I learned it was about Europe, and then I figured, all right, it's time to lock in and study. So I bought college geography courses. I played GeoGuessr. I watched the Belgian version of the show. I did as much studying as I possibly could over the course of 2 months, because up until I landed in Europe, or no, excuse me, before I even started studying, the only thing I knew was that Italy looked like a boot. That was it. I knew nothing about Europe. So I knew in a game like this, to where you could control your own fate if you
Mhm.
knew the city, I knew I had to study, because my European knowledge was not there before that. But when they told me the premise of the show, it was an absolute no-brainer. I was like, absolutely. There's no way I'm not doing this. I was hesitant at first, but then I kind of watched the Belgian version and I saw what they did and saw the premise, and I was like, dude, you would be an idiot to not do this. So
Right. Absolutely. Wow. I mean, you got so far, Biggie. Like I said, that last challenge, I feel like it was really just up to chance, really. There was
yeah,
nothing, you did everything.
yeah. I mean, I did. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think in the last one, I think I missed maybe one question or something like that. I mean, I fought as hard as I could. I put myself in the best position possible with the cards I was dealt. Unfortunately, uh, that one island, which I'll never forget, never lived that down. Tough, tough, and it was hard to watch that back last night too, just because like the emotions I felt in that moment, of coming that close to winning $250,000. Not even the money, but just like to win. To prove to myself that you know I did belong there. I did a great job. The entire competition. So watching that back last night did kind of bring back some memories. And obviously I got a little emotional on the show, but yeah, because it was just like the culmination of everything that had happened over the previous 5 weeks were all just kind of piled up, and they all just kind of came out at the same time. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. The way it ended, it is what it is. That's life, it happens. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Absolutely. Have you talked to Rick since the last filming of the
Not really. No,
Not
no,
really.
not really. No, like a couple. He's DM'd me a couple times here and there, but no, not really.
And I heard kind of a little off topic, but I looked on your Instagram. Do you have a bagel named after you, or is it a bagel? The
As a matter
Biggie?
of fact, they made me one this morning. I got a
Yeah.
little piece here. We got the daggum Biggie bagel. We got cornbread, we got bacon, and we got jalapenos, aka jalapenos, and it is spectacular. I'm a big bagel guy, and we got a local place here in Chattanooga, and yeah, they're fans of the show. They're fans of the content I make, and yeah, they made me a bagel, and it's spectacular. Shout out Brothers Bagel.
That sounds awesome. Well, Biggie, thank you so much. Go ahead and shout out your socials. You do a lot of skits, so I'm sure people would love to see that.
Yeah. So the Instagram is at biggie.cookthebook. TikTok is Biggie Cook the Book, and that's Biggy, not Biggie. So come on with it. I make dumb videos. Hopefully you enjoy them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Biggie.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. You as well.